Yo, what's good, folks? One day I'm not gonna make the same mistake, but I recorded this video and I did not have my audio like I wanted it. It was a little too far. I did have it running, but it was very quiet. I wasn't a fan of it. So a couple things today. We're gonna do a recap, but I also wanna cover something at the end of the video. So coming in today, as you can see, yesterday we had this insane sell-off, or not yesterday, but Friday we had a crazy sell-off. Coming into the market open, you can see we just barely hit equilibrium for this leg down on the 1 hour. And we tapped into this gap on the 1 hour and the 4 hour. So sweeping into equilibrium, tapping into the gap on the 1 and the 4 hour. And then if you come over here, we can even see on the 15 minute, you'll see that I have these gaps marked out, this one right here and then this one right here. We tapped into the first one, and coming into the market, we had equal lows down here on the 1 minute. Well, I guess on the 15 minute too. We also had equal lows down here on the 4 hour, sorry. You can see that right there, equal lows. So I took one trade today. And I took it off of the 1 minute. It was literally almost on market open. We manipulated into this 15 minute and got an inversion. I entered right here off this little, I don't know what you call it, this candle right here. And I made a huge mistake today, and we're going to cover this later in the video, but I broke two rules today taking this trade. This was a good setup. The way that I managed it and the way that I took the trade is what I had a problem with. For one, I de-risked. I did not risk as much as I told myself I wanted to this morning. And I would love to say that that was because I bought the wrong amount of contracts that are sold the wrong amount of contracts. That wasn't the case. I knew what I was doing. I just de-risked way more than I should have. And the second thing that I did wrong was I got out of this trade way sooner than I really needed to. So let me open the calculator real quick. Ooh, sorry, I hope that didn't mess up the audio. I intended on risking $300, at least on the evaluation. You could argue that I should risk more just because it's an evaluation, but whatever. So this was a 1.86. So 300 times 1.86. We should be up $500 today. $550, $560. Two mistakes I made. One, I de-risked. I did not take as much risk as I wanted to, or as much risk as I should have. Two, I got out of the trade way earlier than I was supposed to. I knew that we had equal lows right here. I knew that the session lows were right here and right here. And we even had more internal liquidity resting right here. And we had 4 hour liquidity right here. And we swept into a PDRA and hit equilibrium. We were incredibly bearish. There was no reason to think that price was not going to just drop today like it did. So the thing that I did wrong was that I exited the trade early, because the trade started bouncing right about 6 points below or above my take profit. So right about here. So this is about where I exited the trade, about right here. Incredibly stupid. There was no reason to do that. Completely broke my rules. So two rules were broken today. And like I said, we're going to cover that a little bit more in the video later. But this trade was good. I did end up making money, and you can see on the account here, I made $250. It's not anything really to be proud of, because I did break my rules and I should have made way more. It is what it is. You know, you live and you learn. After this trade, though, I got off. I decided that I wasn't going to trade anymore, just because I was kind of upset that I broke my rules. But I did want to cover two other trades that technically you could have taken. Which this one right here is the first one. This one was alright. We kind of inversed this 2 minute after sweeping everything, by the way. We swept the 4 hour equal lows. We swept Asia and London low, which you can see right here. This is where those lows were at. And then we also swept previous day low. So we swept just about every ounce of liquidity there was. So this was fine. We swept liquidity, and then we got an inverse on the 2 minute and the 3 minute and the 1 minute. But we got a boost up, and I would have set my break even to this internal liquidity, which we would have got stopped out on. Fine trade. Had you waited on the 5 minute for the inverse and then waited for a retest of this BPR, you would have been fine. You would have, it would have been a great trade, because you would have got in on this wick down here. But it is what it is. That's not really how I trade. So like I said, I did not take this trade because I got off for the day. And then this one right here, you could have taken this one off of a sweep of the internal liquidity right here, resting right here. So we swept that liquidity, and then we got a kind of a tap into this range right here. Let's see if there's a gap up on the 15-minute. Yeah, so we got a tap onto this this gap right here on the 15-minute, and we got a nice little rejection off of it. Really clean rejection, to be honest. You could have entered off of this first inversion on the 2-minute. To be honest, my profit goal or my target would have been these equal lows down here. We have right here, right about there. You could have targeted these 4-hour lows yet again. It's really fine, whatever you wanted to target. I have this mark right here due to the fact that this trade would have been, let's see, so this is 2 minutes and this is 100 and 300. So this would have been about a 3-hour trade, right, so far, had you not closed it already. So what I would have done personally is I would have went and I would have put up my stop above this high right here after we swept down here. Just because there's really no reason for me to be in this trade this long, especially if it's not going to go down to these equal lows. So realistically, had I taken this trade, I would have been out about right here. So it would have been a 1.34, which is fine. It's not bad. Like I said, I didn't take either of these trades though because I got off after I broke my rules, which we're going to cover more of that in a second. But overall today was not really amazing. Like I said, we made money, but I did unfortunately break my rules. So, excuse me, sorry. So, because I broke my rules, I started kind of thinking about something. First thing, I don't know if I have my rules written down anywhere in my journal. Okay, so I know what my rules are in my mentally, but I don't have them written down anywhere. So I'm gonna share them with you. And two, I'm implementing a new rule. Okay, so the rule is, if I break any of my trading rules, I have to run a mile for every rule that is broken. So today, I'm going to go over my rules real quick. It's going to be real quick. I'm not going to explain every single one of them in depth. Most of you will probably have rules similar to these. But I do want to cover them real quick. So let's just go over them one by one. So the first rule is confluences need to be met. No entering without a reason. You don't have to have the same confluences as me or another influencer, but just have a reason you enter a trade. Don't just enter a trade for no reason. 2, predefine your risk for the day before coming into the market and stick to it. This is the rule I broke. This is rule number 1 that I broke. I broke no rule number 2. Okay. When you predefine your risk, you want to stick to it. You don't want to risk less, and you certainly don't want to risk more. That's how you blow accounts. And risking less is how you just don't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? If you risk $100 to make $100 on an eval, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Rule number 3. Once in a trade, do not exit without a viable reason to do so. This is also a trade rule I broke. I exited the trade way sooner than I needed to, even though I know and I knew where we were going with price. Super big mistake. It is what it is. I did put in here, example, if price drops for 30 minutes right above your entry, consider going break even to protect yourself, but don't uselessly exit the trade due to nerves. Basically just saying if the trade gives you a reason to leave, or just go break even. But just don't leave just because you're nervous. Okay, sorry. My throat's getting a little bit sore. I'm going to enlarge this just a little bit. What were we on? Okay, rule number 4. If your model allows it, predetermine where you will go break even. Just don't do it randomly at some point in the trade. I put an example here, down here with this trade that I could have taken earlier. Had I taken this, I would have had my internal highs marked so that whenever we hit them, we could have gone break even. Like I said, it would have stopped me out. But 9 times out of 10, if you sweep internal lows or internal highs or internal lows and you reverse, it's better to protect yourself, you know, just as a rule of thumb. But just don't go break even randomly in the trade, which, by the way, is what I did on this trade up here. I did just go break even randomly, which, whatever, it was fine. But predefine your sessions and the amount of trades you're willing to take. Don't just trade every single session, 5 trades a session. Predetermine which sessions you want to trade. For me, it's New York AM and PM. And then determine how many trades you want to take. For me, it's 3. I won't take more than 2 losses, so if I take 2 losses, I'm done. But if I take 3 wins, I'm done. If you take 1 loss and 2 wins, I'm done. I just don't want to take more than 3. And if I take 2 consecutive losses, then there's no point to keep trading. With this, predetermine your risk. So for me, it's 300. So I know in a day I cannot lose more than 600 if I'm smart about my trades, right? So you don't want to take 3 losses and now you're down 900. Well, you didn't expect to take 3 losses and you didn't expect to lose 900. So that's where the kind of the emotions come in, and then you start wanting to revenge trade and kind of get back at the losses that you made. So just determine what your risk is the day before, and then according to that, determine how many trades you want to take. Rule number 6, most importantly, accept the risk. Understand if you're willing to risk 250 per trade. Like I said, for me it's 300, but it may be 250 or 500 for you. And you're willing to lose twice in a row before getting off the charts. 500 is your risk. For me it's 600. For you, maybe if you're risking 100 or 500, maybe 1,000. But just accept that 500, 600, whatever it is you're willing to risk for that day, just accept that that's your potential loss on the day. Just accept that, and just know coming into the trading day that that's the most that you'll lose. You won't lose any more than that as long as you stick to your rules, as long as you stick to your plan, and just accept that some days you're just going to lose that because we're traders, and that's just what happens. Probability is a thing. You won't win every single trade. Accept it, and then once you do lose 2 trades, or those days come where you do lose that amount, just get off the charts. Do what you got to do to relieve your mind. Go hit the gym, go read, go meditate, go pray, go whatever you got to do. Just go do something. Just get your mind off the charts and then come back in the next day. This last rule is kind of a nothing burger rule. I just put it in here because why not? Just be wise. Don't force trades for no reason. Use discretion. This kind of just goes back to all of the rules. Don't just enter for no reason. Don't revenge trade. Don't get greedy and trade more than you need to. Just be wise. Follow your rules and just be mindful of what you're doing on the charts. So because I broke these 2 rules, I figured that it would be only fair to do something because I broke them. So what I decided to do is I'm going to be running a mile every time I break a rule. So today I broke rules. Let's see, I broke rule 2 and 3, I think, is what I broke. Pull this back up. Yeah, so I predefined my risk, but I did not stick to it. And then I entered the trade, but I left without a reason to do so. The trade never went against me. There was no real reason to get out of it. So I broke 2 rules today. So I ran 2 miles, and I'm going to show you guys the clips and all the pictures and everything that I took to actually prove that I did run the miles. This is a good incentive for me, at least. You could do whatever you want, whether it's, if you don't like reading, maybe read a chapter of a book every time you fail a rule. Just do something to incentivize you actually following your rules. For me, I don't want to run anymore. I don't like running. I like the gym, but running is not my fancy. So, yeah, I'm just going to show you guys these clips, and maybe it's just an idea for you guys to incentivize yourself to actually write down some rules and start following them. So, just check this out. Alright, so it's Monday the 15th. Unfortunately, I broke 2 of my rules today. So as you guys have already seen in the video, I'm going to be running a mile for every rule that I break now. There's a little loop around our neighborhood. That's run it 3 times. That's 2 miles. So I'm going to run it 3 times. We'll get 2 miles in. I'll make sure I do update videos to prove to you guys. And then I'm also going to track it on one of the apps that I have on my phone that tracks how many steps you take. So we'll see you guys at the first update. All right, fellas. We're 1/3 of the way through. I'm gonna put up on the screen how many miles we're at right now. I had to stop and get a drink and blow my nose since it's kind of cold out here. But I'll let you guys know when I get to 2/3. Hey guys, it's me while I'm editing the video. I just now realized the second update for the running was abysmal. The angle was terrible, and there was a light right above my shoulder that kept getting brought in and out of frame. It's like a flashbang every 2 seconds. So I'm just gonna cut it out, but you'll get to see the final update and then one more video. But yeah, the second one is just unshowable. Sorry. Okay, I just finished. That was the best incentive ever. Can't stand that. Don't want to do it again. I'll have the time and everything that I finished posted up somewhere when I started and when I finished, how long it took me each mile, and then the distance I ran. I'm not trying to do this again, bro. I gotta follow my rules. Anyways, that's really all for the day. I just wanted to show you guys what I'm actively doing to, for me, stick to my rules. Because I know my motto works, I know my entry works, I know my trading knowledge is sufficient. I just gotta stick to my rules. And once you actually start sticking to your rules, that's when you start seeing progress. Or at least that's what they say. So, I just wanted to show you guys that I'm actually actively doing something to do that. And maybe it'll inspire you guys to do the same. Like I said, incentives are good, especially when it comes to following rules and following sets of rules that that you're supposed to. In that book that I was talking about, actually, in this book right here, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, that's something he actually talks about, is that in the market, rules do not define themselves. In school and in work, you have sets of rules that you have to follow. Otherwise, you get fired. You get expelled. In the market, there is no such thing as just already set in place rules. It's up to you, the trader, to actually predetermine what your rules are going to be and stick to them, because rules are no good if you don't follow them. There's a reason that schools have rules, and there's a reason that work has rules. And what happens if they don't get followed? Chaos. It's the same in trading. We all have to have our own rules, and like I said, I definitely recommend this book. It's amazing, and it talks a lot about rules, and it just talks about, you know, the mindset that you have to have going into trading. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys that I'm actually doing something to try and follow my rules, because once again, that's really all it takes. You really just have to stick to your rules and just know what you're doing, you know? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace. Catch you guys later this week.